Today, inflation increasing at its fastest rate in nearly 40 years. How much has it increased over the past month and the past year? Empty shelves becoming more common. We take a look at the supply chain to see what's going on with supply and demand. And Beijing imposing zero COVID policies in more cities. Restrictions are hitting factories hard, making supply chain issues worse. That and much more coming up on NTD Business. Good evening and great to have you with us. I'm Evelyn Lee in for Paul. If prices seem high to you, let's face it, you're right. Inflation hit a 39-year high. And today, the Bureau of Labor Statistics reported that inflation jumped 7% in the 12 months ending in December. That's the steepest climb in prices since 1982. It was also a faster rate of increase than November and higher than economists predicted. Month over month, the price increase did slow down a little, driven by a decline in energy costs and slower increases in food prices. The Federal Reserve plans multiple interest rate hikes this year to help fight inflation. Policymakers have already signaled a rate hike could come as early as March. The Fed is also set to end its monthly bond purchases that supported the economy during the pandemic. Joining me now is investment advisor Ted Oakely. He's a founder and managing partner at Oxbow Advisors. Pleasure to having you on, Ted.
Thank you, Evelyn.
So yesterday, Powell said that he expects inflation to ease towards the middle of the year. Now, looking at the report today, what do you think?
Well, I think, Ellen, what's happening is that, naturally going up through December, you're going to show its peak. Now, we happen to think that's peak too, actually. We think that you might get some movement on into the first few weeks of January. I doubt it. That doesn't mean you won't have inflation at a level that's higher than it was, say, 3 years ago during the first and second quarter. But it looks as though, to us at least, that the peak level has already been reached, and that you'll flatten out in here, and you'll be higher than you were, like I say, 3 years ago, but not a runaway look like some people expect right now.
Peak level has been reached, but it sounds like they're getting increasingly aggressive in dealing with the inflation. So what will this mean for the stock market?
Well, I think it's political. Obviously, if you look at administration's levels of approval, inflation is the number one thing. And so they're looking at that from the standpoint of voters. And so they obviously put some pressure on the Fed to, and push the rates up and break it back. Unfortunately, we think they'll be raising rates into what will either be a flattening or a slowing of that growth. And then they'll turn right back around in 2 or 3 months and go the other way. But we'll see. I mean, I think this inflation argument, people that are for and against, I think they'll actually both be right. It's just one comes before the other.
And now also seeing disruptions with Omicron, shuttered restaurants again, flight disruptions, supply chain issues. So do you think the Fed will take that into consideration when it comes to tightening their policies?
Well, I think they will, but if they'll look closely on it, Evelyn, if you look at, for example, if you just go to the ports now, while they're still stacked up, they're about 40 or 50% better than they were 6 months ago. Now, that's probably not in the pricing at this point. It's not that they're not slowing things down, but I think that's a better look. And Omicron is one of those things that comes out really quickly if you look at the cases, but it goes away quickly. So, more than likely, you'll get in a situation where that will sort of heal itself in time. When I say heal, I'm talking about the retail side of that, restaurants, et cetera. So we'll see, but that's what it looks like to us.
And you said that you expect the market will be more volatile this year. Can you expand on that? And more importantly, of course, how should investors prepare for that?
Well, I think the first thing, Evelyn, is this will be the first time in basically 13 years, outside of the one quarter in late 18, that investors have had to really deal with the Fed not being in buying bonds. They'll be slowing that down, as well as, they may raise rates. I don't think they'll raise 4 times like people expect, but I do think they'll raise. And what happens, that's the first time investors won't have that backstop in there. So that probably means that you're going to get a lot more volatility. And by that, I mean, if you go through a year where you have these swings, like 20% down, 20% up, and you do that a couple of times, 2 or 3 times, The average investor that just owns an exchange-traded fund or an index fund, they will not participate. In other words, they'll get to the end of the year and probably not make a lot of money because they didn't have the ability to actively manage that. And I think that's where we'll head in 22.
Thanks, Ted, for coming on. Pleasure as always.
All right, Evelyn, thank you.
And on Wall Street, stock indexes rose today. The Dow rose 38 points, or about 0.1%. The S&P 500 gained 13 points, or about 0.3%, while the Nasdaq gained 35 points, or about 0.2%. And oil prices hit 2-month highs today. That's amid tight supply and fading worries about Omicron. Yesterday, Fed Chair Jerome Powell said the U.S. economy should get through the current Omicron surge with only short-lived impacts. Before broadcast, West Texas Intermediate futures were up 1.9%, and Brent crude futures were up 1.2%. OPEC Plus oil producers are still holding back output by more than 3 million barrels per day, and Europe's gas storage levels are still below the 5-year average, with prices expected to stay elevated. And thousands of workers at Colorado's biggest grocery chain went on strike this morning. Over 8,000 workers at nearly 80 King Soopers stores walked off the job, demanding better wages and benefits. Talks fell apart yesterday between the union and the chain, which is owned by Kroger. Investment research firm CFRA says Kroger's subsidiaries in Colorado make about 5% of Kroger's annual sales. And depending on how long the strike goes, it could impact market share in the state. Kroger says King Soopers has brought in workers from across the country to fill in, so stores will remain open. The union says the strike will last for 3 weeks. There's a reported rise in empty store shelves as Omicron barrels its way around the world. What's going on behind this? NTD's Don Ma gives us a supply chain update.
Empty store shelves are reportedly on the rise as the world deals with the Omicron variant.
Everyone we meet with, from pet food to detergent to cereal, they're all confronting the same challenges.
Jeff Freeman is president of the Consumer Brands Association, the national trade association for packaged goods in the United States. Freeman sees incredible consumer demand.
That has not waned since the outset of COVID in March of 2020. We estimate that demand is up about 11% year over year. That's incredible.
Freeman says companies tell him they've had more positive COVID tests in the past 2 weeks than in all of 2020. This prevents people from working.
You have COVID issues at ports around the world, workers not showing up because they're positive.
Jake Phipps is the CEO of Phipps & Co., which brings building materials to real estate developers. Phipps says a shortage of truck drivers is one of the major problems.
There's no truckers, so once I actually get a container out of the port, it's taken me an extra, 3 to 5, 6 days, of the container being held in a yard.
Phipps says other factors also contribute to the lack of supply, such as high logistics costs, inflation, gas prices, and raw material movement around the world. Don Ma, NTD News.
CVS and Walgreens have joined a growing list of major companies that are cutting paid sick leave for employees that are unvaccinated and test positive for the CCP virus. As CDC guidance on the virus continues to evolve, a string of companies are ending certain benefits for unvaccinated workers. It's to get more employees to get the shots. CVS confirmed to Fortune that paid leave is available only to employees who are vaccinated, approved for reasonable accommodation, or otherwise covered by local laws. Walgreens says after February 23rd, only fully vaccinated employees will enjoy sick leave benefits unless they have an approved medical or religious exemption. And more tech firms are embracing a hybrid working model. Online trading platform Robinhood said today it plans to move most of its workers to remote work permanently. The company is headquartered in Menlo Park, California, and employs about 3,400. Robinhood says the move will give it the flexibility to recruit talent from almost anywhere. Also, it doesn't plan to change the pay structure for its staff. And now moving on to Broadway. It's closer to closing in the red than the black so far this year. Receipts from Broadway show sales are down for the first week of the year. During that period, Broadway shows raked in $18 million, 30% less than the previous week. That's in part because of tickets prices, which fell 20%. Omicron also appears to be hurting sales. 27 shows are currently running, with several closing, and a few slated to reopen later in the year. Earlier this week, the Broadway League announced mask and vaccine requirements have been extended through the end of April. Beijing is imposing zero COVID policies in more cities, including industrial hub Tianjin. Restrictions are hitting factories hard and making supply chain disruptions worse. NTD's Colin Fredrickson has the details.
With cases of the CCP virus flaring up across China, the Chinese regime is imposing zero-tolerance strategies and citywide testing to try to contain the virus.
The longer it keeps doing this top-down approach, the bigger impact, the bigger dent on growth numbers it's going to have, and on supply chain disruptions as well.
Big companies, including Samsung, Volkswagen, Nike, and Adidas, are suffering halts to production. Toyota said operations at its joint venture factory in Tianjin had been suspended because of mass testing imposed across the city. About 14 million residents were tested after 2 cases of the Omicron variant were detected. But Beijing's policies are affecting many more across supply chains. Brian Freed, CEO of LED lighting company Rapid Grow, told NTD what his business encountered after lockdowns in China.
Components that we used to purchase from China that had an average lead time of 4 weeks have an average lead time now of 30 weeks. And so that's a catastrophic increase in the amount of time required.
Freed says with a domino effect, it will cause some companies to eventually go out of business.
We've already seen consolidation in some of our markets where larger companies are swallowing up smaller ones simply because there's no growth opportunities due to these restrictions.
Professor Juscelino Colares of Case Western Reserve University thinks it's highly questionable that the Chinese Communist Party can continue playing this top-down approach under the threat of enormous economic costs and the Olympics coming. Colin Fredrickson, NTD News.
Goldman Sachs is cutting its forecast for China economic growth this year to 4.3%, down from 4.8% previously. It's because the bank expects business activity to be more restricted to contain the Omicron variant. The report says containing the virus remains a top priority for local officials. Goldman analysts don't think exports will be the problem. They think consumption will likely be affected the most. And still to come, what you need to know about Social Security changes this year and what it means for retirement and Medicare. And wellness clubs in London offering technology-based treatments at the touch of a button. We take a look at some of the luxury treatments, that and more, coming up on NTD Business.
Secure, the true solution for your digital privacy and security. Secure is a private and secure messaging and email solution hosted in Switzerland, using military-grade encryption and Swiss privacy laws, giving you true privacy. Secure is 100% private and does not collect or sell any of your personal data. Secure's Helix technology connects you securely to our Swiss servers without the need of a VPN, guaranteeing privacy and security for all your communications. Secure Messenger doesn't require your phone number or any personal data that hackers target. Chat by Invites allows you to chat privately and securely with anyone outside of your secure network without the need for others to download Secure. Secure Send offers you a private and secure way to email anyone outside of Secure. You won't find this level of privacy or security on any other email or instant messaging application. Visit secure.com. Regain and protect your privacy today.
Someone has to find the way to build the Great Dome. Completely new, completely original.
The 2022 NTD 8th International Chinese Vocal Competition will be held at the Merkin Hall of Kaufman Music Center in New York City. The competition is honored to have specially invited vocalists with the world-renowned Shen Yun Performing Arts to serve on its panel of judges. The gold award is $10,000. The 2022 8th International Chinese Vocal Competition. For more information, please visit vocal.ntdtv.com.
And here's the latest in the crypto world. Mega celebrities Kim Kardashian and Floyd Mayweather are getting sued, allegedly promoting the pump and dump coin called Ethereum Max. It has nothing to do with the Ethereum, the second most popular cryptocurrency, though. NTD's Phil Zhou has the story.
Kim Kardashian and Floyd Mayweather are being sued over an alleged crypto pump and dump scam. Investors are accusing the celebrities of promoting a no-name crypto called Ethereum Max.
Do your homework, do your research.
I would not move forward with an endorsement that a celebrity had recommended just on the fact that they were a celebrity.
Kajenwa Moit teaches branding and marketing at Parsons School of Design at the New School.
You know, they did what every scammer would normally do, which is to name it after something that is trusted. In fact, what we came to find is Ethereum Max has nothing to do with Ethereum. It doesn't even sit on the Ethereum blockchain, but it's a way of duping people.
Kim Kardashian promoted the coin on Instagram, asking, "Are you guys into crypto? This is not financial advice," and names Ethereum Max.
Kim Kardashian's case, it was declared on the Instagram post that it was a paid promotion.
Floyd Mayweather endorsed the coin at a boxing match with YouTube star Logan Paul.
This is the best day of my life.
Accepting the coin as payment for boxing tickets.
Trying to buy celebrity names to promote their assets. And so the ultimate question is, should someone who's being paid for promoting a product be ultimately held accountable?
Crypto and blockchain attorney Felix Shipkevich says the celebs are only doing their job of promotion. He gave an example of a celebrity promoting a car advertisement.
You know, sometime down the road, this EV has major issues, goes up in flames, or the brakes stop working. Are we going to end up suing that celebrity? And the short answer is no.
Ethereum Max has lost 97% of its value since June last year, now trading for 0.0000017th of a penny.
Do your due diligence, take time, right, before, do a lot of reading. Reading is so important.
By default, it should be an automatic level of skepticism from consumers when it comes to crypto assets. Not to say that they're not legal, but you know, you've been warned, so consumer beware.
Phil Zhou, NTD News.
And Costa Rica produces more energy than it can use, and during the pandemic, some power plants had to pause operations. But one hydroelectric plant has found a new lease on life by providing power for crypto mining. Emma Gell has more.
A defunct hydro plant in Costa Rica is getting a new lease on life by powering crypto mining and bringing clean energy to a rapidly expanding business. More than 650 machines from 150 customers operate nonstop from this plant next to the Poas River, just outside of capital city San Jose. Eduardo Cooper is the owner of data center CR and the plant.
We had a lot of power, but we did nothing with it. We had to pause activity for 9 months. We looked for many alternatives, from making fried food, frozen food, everything that used a lot of energy. Just a year ago, someone told me about Bitcoin, blockchain, and digital mining.
Cooper, skeptical at first, learned that the crypto mining business requires a lot of energy, much of which comes from fossil fuels. The company invested $500,000 to venture into hosting digital mining computers.
Our market is the international miner who is looking for better conditions. That miner is looking for clean energy, cheap energy that is economically viable, and looking for internet connection. Where he finds it, it is where that miner is going to go.
Data Center CR, with its 3 plants, is valued at $13.5 million.
Taiwan may soon have more battery swap stations than gas stations. Taiwan-based Gogoro's battery vending machines are easy to use. Just ride your Gogoro scooter up to a station, shove in your depleted battery, and grab a new one. The company uses a simple subscription service. The Taipei Times said Gogoro had 2,200 charging stations in 2021, while there were 2,400 gas stations. Gogoro plans to expand to India, China, and Indonesia, and is preparing to go public on the Nasdaq. The NFL is no stranger to branding partnerships with snack foods, but Lay's is taking things one step further. To mark its return to Super Bowl advertising after a 17-year-long hiatus, the potato chip company is launching Lay's Golden Grounds. The name comes from the way potatoes are grown. The team indicated on the chip bag contributed a bit of dirt to the process, helping grow the spuds eventually used to make the chips inside. But here's the thing, you'll have to be pretty hardcore though to get your favorite team's bag. Only 200 of each have been made. And Oreo is celebrating its 110th birthday with a new flavor, the limited edition chocolate confetti cake Oreos. The cookies are covered in sprinkles and on the outside and more sprinkles on the inside. And there will be 2 flavored creams, which is the signature you know, and another one that tastes like chocolate cake. They'll be on sale starting January 31st ahead of the big birthday on March 6th. That's the day the cookies were first sold in 1912 in Hoboken, New Jersey. Several changes are coming to Social Security benefits this year. If you receive Social Security, you can expect to get more from monthly benefit checks. NTD's Christina Kim has the details.
All Social Security checks are going up by 5.9% in 2022. The increase is due to something known as the Automated Cost of Living Adjustment, and that figure is based on the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers. Due to these increases, the average monthly retirement check totals $1,657 in 2022. That's almost $100 more than in 2021. While the maximum Social Security check for a worker turning full retirement age in 2022 will be $3,345. In comparison, it was $3,148 in 2021. There are also upcoming increases to the Medicare Part B premium. This figure will be deducted from Social Security checks for most people. In 2022, the basic Part B premium comes to $170.10. This is $21.60 more than the rate in 2021. But people earning more will usually pay more than the basic premium. What's more, the Social Security taxable earnings base will go up as well, from $142,800 in 2021 to $147,000 in 2022. In other words, people who earn more than $147,000 in 2022 will no longer have Social Security payroll taxes deducted from their paychecks once they hit that threshold. And in terms of the work credits, in 2022, the one credit limit will go up to $1,510. It means you will have to earn $6,040 this coming year before you get the maximum 4 credits assigned to your Social Security account.
And private wellness clubs in London are offering technology-based treatments to help members recover from holiday binging. Services include cold temperature therapy chambers and oxygen pods. NTD's Andrew Thomas has more.
Eating well and exercising regularly is the best way to maintain good health. But if you're looking for luxury, a new private club in London is offering some high-tech treatments.
We specialize in recovery therapies, including cryotherapy, hyperbaric oxygen therapy, sensory deprivation, and we interlink that, we combine that with performance-based training and personal training.
The Body Labs cryotherapy dual chamber drops to a temperature of minus 110 degrees Celsius, which is minus 166 degrees Fahrenheit. Staff members volunteer to show how it all works.
So the cryotherapy, we've got a dual electric chamber. The first chamber is minus 60, the second is minus 110. In a nutshell, it's optimizing recovery through reducing inflammation and increasing blood circulation.
Other health benefits of the treatment are said to include collagen production, accelerating fat loss, and increasing metabolism. Also available at the Body Lab is hyperbaric hydroxy oxygen therapy. The Body Lab claims the hyperbaric hydroxy AirPod can speed up the body's own healing process through the increased absorption of oxygen.
It's a very safe, non-invasive treatment. We're not using any bottled oxygen. The AirPod is pressurized to 1.3 bar, which is the equivalent of 3 meters below sea level.
But the treatments here aren't cheap. A 3-tiered membership package ranges from $6,700 to $24,000 annually.
That's the latest business updates for today. You can catch NTD Evening News with Stephania Cox at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. For NTD Business, that's all for today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks for watching us on YouTube. Did you know YouTube only keeps selective videos on its platform? So if you want to make sure you get the full picture, just subscribe to our newsletter. Go to newsletter.ntd.com and sign up. It's free.